Oral language, or spoken language, has rules, but those rules are different from the ones you learned in writing. One of the biggest differences is that someone taught you how to write, how to form your letters, and the way to structure complete sentences and punctuate so that people know whether you're asking a question or making a statement. But no one specifically taught you to create an upward inflection with your voice when asking a question. You had to learn this directly from listening to and using the language or the code. To use a code, you have to figure out the symbols that collectively represent the message you want to send. The technical name for this mental step is encoding, putting into code. The sender in the communication model encodes a message for the receiver. The receiver must then decode or extract meaning from the symbols that were used to create the message. Let's take a closer look at encoding and decoding. In step 1, I choose the symbols that I hope will convey my intended message, and these are the symbols I choose. Next, I have to put them into the proper structure for the specific code, because the meaning will be harder to determine if the order is incorrect for that code. So I'm going to choose this order. I have now encoded my message, and if we both understand the code, Pig Latin, then you can decode these symbols to mean that person is good looking. Now let's talk about the characteristics of language. By its nature, all oral language has meaning, vocabulary, structure, grammar, and sound. But no symbol has meaning on its own. It only has the meaning that we assign to it. So how do you interpret this symbol? All of these choices could be correct, and most likely you made your choice based on your age or country of origin. People born into the greatest generation will likely see the victory symbol used in World War II. Baby boomers are more apt to refer to it as the peace sign from the Vietnam era. Millennials may say that it represents a sign for see you later. And people from Australia or Italy may think that you have given them an obscene signal if the back of your hand is facing them. Vocabulary is our next characteristic. It refers to all of the symbols that are used in a code, and this is where the problem arises. Anything that is symbolic is ambiguous. That means it's open to interpretation, but anything open to interpretation is also open to misinterpretation. Just as you need a variety of clothes to get you through different situations in life, communicators need a variety of word styles. You would not want to wear a business suit for a day on the beach, and likewise, unless you are a lifeguard, you will not be employed long if you show up to a business meeting wearing a swimsuit. Just like the clothing, there are times when your language needs to be more formal, saying things in a very precise manner at a precise time. You hear lawyers in court make statements like, "Objection, Your Honor," leading the witness. They do not say, "Yo, dude, he's not following the rules." Standard language would be used in situations where you want to create a good, credible impression, more like a job interview. And then there are other times, like hanging out with friends, when you want informal language, relaxed and comfortable, just like a pair of jeans and a t-shirt. The people around you already know and love you, so you don't have to be as careful with word choice or grammar. Just like your clothing, your word choices create an impression of who you are, though sometimes people have to dress in ways that are not reflective of their true personalities. Maybe your partner bought you a Yankees cap on their trip to New York. You are not a Yankees fan, but you do wear it to avoid hurting their feelings. A number of people will incorrectly assume that you are indeed a Yankees fan. Or you stop by the store on your way home from work, where you have to adhere to a dress code that is not your typical style. People who do not know it is a dress code We'll assume that you prefer to dress this way, when this is your preferred style that you look forward to wearing on the weekends. Unlike your clothing, you have total control over what comes out of your mouth, and it is reflective of who you are. So hopefully you see now why having a larger vocabulary helps you better adjust to a larger variety of circumstances. It also helps you to choose the words that add interest to your message. Much like an artist mixes different paints to create the right shades, speakers play with words to accomplish the right effect. A larger vocabulary also helps more accurately interpret the messages of others. What do you think of when you read this sentence? If you know that the word bread has two meanings, you can consider the context to determine the meaning of the symbol. Close your eyes and see what happens in your mind when you hear these three sentences. The elephant was big. The elephant was huge. The elephant was enormous. Okay, open your eyes. Technically, these three words have the same meaning. Even though the denotative or the dictionary meaning for all of these words indicate large in size, the picture in your head probably changed with the feeling or the connotative meaning of each word. Word choice is critical. It helps create clear and effective communication with others when you choose the words that give the receiver the greatest chance of interpreting the symbol the same way you did. Structure is the order in which you arrange those symbols. Sometimes the structure has to be set, but often parts can be rearranged to create different effects. Here's one example. The rain in Spain is mainly on the plain. Or, the rain on the plain is mainly in Spain. Word order matters. Next, we have grammar. This is the basic understanding of the rules that govern a code. An example that might be familiar is that adjectives come before nouns in English, but they come after nouns in Spanish. So you say White House in English, but Casablanca in Spanish. If the order is incorrect for the code, the meaning is harder to follow. It will take longer to accurately interpret if someone asks, "Do you live in the house white?" This follows the code rules for Spanish, but it uses English symbols. The last characteristic we will discuss is sound. Oral language must have sound, and the way you sound affects how people receive the message. People will judge you on that sound. It is one of the factors in determining whether they see you as being mature or immature, confident or lacking confidence. When you sound confident, people assume that you have credibility. You can be the world's leading expert in an area, but people will doubt your message if you sound like you are not confident in yourself and in your skills. So your language conveys an attitude, and it can directly affect your success in your communication interactions and in your life.